get into his position. Now, coming out of the locker room, when you've played such a hot first half, the key for the goalie is going to be to make that next save. And Coach Cottle referenced the next goal. But if you can make that next big save, if you're Tillman Johnson, it is all downhill from there. Halftime is the last thing you want as a goalie in that situation. You're hot. You're on fire. Let's just keep this game rolling.
Pastula in there against DeVilliers, but it's DeVilliers getting the ball pushed forward, and he's starting to come alive in the face-off X, and that will be huge for Virginia. The funny thing about this game, Quinn, is that Virginia leads 5-2, but in the halftime talks, Virginia sort of had to make changes. They're winning by 3, and Maryland, down by 3, really didn't have to change anything. They did everything, like Dave Cottle said, except get it past Tillman Johnson.
It is definitely a weird game because of that.
They put the offensive set on with Shannon, Rotelli, and Dixon.
Virginia can help their defense out by possessing the ball a little longer.
Well, they're looking for some goals from Rotelli, so they give him an initiation from the midfield. Back to Ward at X. Backs in. The big defensive checks. Maryland not giving him any room to get comfortable. Gavoli up top as he inverts from behind.
Gavoli and Christmas have really been bystanders in this offense.
Well, they've got the big dogs chasing him from the Maryland defense. Inside, a great underhand shot by Christmas. That was as pretty a shot, as creative and exciting as we've seen all day.
Christmas catching that right-handed and redirecting shovel shot behind his back.
Lee Zink playing defense. He loses his position. Matt Ward got Zink to slip. And that big goal that Dave Cottle talked about goes to Virginia 6-2.
Zink coming off what I said was 3 straight shutout games. But Ward, the freshman, shows a lot of confidence. Pushes top side, the inside roll. Zink loses his feet, and the location of the shot in the corner. This is just a question mark. Inside roll dodge. And look at the bounce shot. Lower corner. Ward feeling it right now with the hat trick.
Certainly leading his team with 3 goals. Tremendous job as they try to shut off the big guys. And DeVilliers with the fast break. Christmas takes it on the corner of the box. It was a 4-man fast break with DeVilliers out in front. But look how quickly Maryland's defense got inside. It looked like the numbers weren't even there. They got there first, and we're waiting for them almost. This is Gavoli back to Christmas as Virginia starts giving you some different looks. Matt Ward goes to the right wing. Christmas back to X. And this is the new midfield in. Moske up top. 21 is Foster Gilbert, a freshman. Now Starja uses that move by Foster Gilbert to put some pressure on McCormick. Chased out of bounds by Johnny Christmas. Dom Starja, tremendous year, his 11th year as coach of the University of Virginia, looking to get back to the championship. And Dave Cottle, just his second after taking over from Dickie Dell, the big man, who everybody in the stadium would love to be recognized as part of this Maryland success.
Coach Adele is here in one of the luxury suites upstairs.
Pass to the crease. Gladding was trying to catch it, but the big checks from that strong defense of Maryland keeps it out of the stick. This is maybe the most patient and crafty offensive set. Again, they had a chance to adjust at halftime, Quinn. Do you see a success in that talk?
Yeah, I like what Virginia's doing here. They seem to really have found their spacing, and they stick another goal.
Well, the young guy, that's Matt Poske, freshman, who comes up with a huge goal up top. They're running that third midfield, or that second midfield, rather, which is 2 freshmen and a senior, Billy Gladding.
Poske pings this one off the post. You can hear it from up top. If you freeze it right here, you can see just the defensive spacing was a little off, and Harper kind of gives Poske that outside shot, and he nails the post.
That was an unbelievable shot for anybody, much less a young kid. Joe Beninati has a look from down there. Virginia looks comfortable with whatever they talked about at halftime.
How about 7-2 for the Cavaliers, Lee Elsmo? We haven't seen Chris Rotelli score a goal. He's not scored in either game against Maryland this season. Instead, it's the freshman Ward who's got his 4th hat trick leading the charge, and the Cavaliers are pumped up on this sideline.
Joe, that's the challenge. They just basically, with the great defense of Maryland, they're going to shut some players out. And they elect to take out Christmas and the big guys. Rotelli. Look at Maryland, though, putting pressure on Mollett. They have lined up behind Mike Mollett all season long, and the captain comes in and makes this one look easy. And finally, one of the big guns of Maryland gets a goal 12 minutes left in this third period. 7-3 the score.
After the ACC loss to Duke, it's been the Mollett show for Maryland's offense. 4 points against UMBC, 3 points against Georgetown, 3 points against Notre Dame, and then the NCAA playoffs. It's been his play, and that was a tremendous split dodge, right to left, crossover dribble in basketball.
Pastula in there for Maryland again, but he's not doing very well against de Villiers. De Villiers trying to handle him and doing a good job of it with that push forward.
Here comes the Maryland defensive pressure. 10-second violation.
That was a time violation, not getting it in the box in time. Zach Hefner trying to get that ball down in low.
See the wet surface. There's been a rain for 4 or 5 days here in Baltimore. This field's been covered by a tarp.
Mollett got Whitty out of position, and Maryland had Virginia struggling to find matchups there for a minute. And now Mollett sees that they don't have the numbers, and they calm things down. Maryland leading in shots just by 1. Team's about even there, 22-21 in shots, as we are about 4 minutes into the third period. Ryan Moran, he wants a left-handed shot, but Kenny just gives him that little shove out of his comfort zone, and he backs off and gets it to Mollett. Mollett with a little bit of speed, a little bit of headroom. Whitty, the defender. Whitty gets help from the slide on the side, and the ball gets put down on the turf. Dangerous in the middle if you don't pick it up. And Maryland again out-hustling Virginia for the GBs.
Mollett with an aggressive north-south dodge. Whitty got the help he needed.
Big push inside, and again they cannot hit the goal. That has been the shooting that has plagued them. Moran with motion, and then he pushes it past wide of Tillman Johnson. Virginia now extending their defense a little bit.
Stay with it, David, stay with it!
Play on push against Maryland. Joe Walters. The Virginia ball on the far sideline.
Kenny will pick it up and put it back in play. And he gets it past LaMonica. Little fake to the wing. Maryland playing very tough defense in the form of Joe Parker, who's had a nice day.
Nathan Kenny, only a sophomore from Detroit Country Day out in Michigan. Good-looking player, has got a bright future.
Rotelli tried to sneak that one across field. Almost paid for it. Now his defenseman slips down. He lost Harper. Rotelli all alone up front, and the finishing shot saved by McCormick. There'll be a crease violation. It'll go to Maryland, but you got to credit McCormick with a sensational save on a play that Virginia just rammed down their throat, taking advantage of a slip defense.
2 Maryland defenders slipped.
8 saves for McCormick. 4 goals separate these two teams. Not a lot of time left, as Maryland has shown that they can do it all. They can play tough defense. That's what everybody talks about. But Dave Cottle has really reworked the offense, and it scares a lot of people. They beat UMass last week, and let me tell you, that team can score goals. They handled them fairly easily on that quarterfinal day. Maryland behind the goal. Jamie Dow had possession. They lose it up to Trey Whitty, and here goes the transition that they love. Whitty, right-handed shot, hits the iron, and nobody knows where it is. Q, it bounced off the iron and then found itself in the net.
It found itself in Yavoli's stick. Trey Whitty, who's got a goal already, picks off the Dow pass. He's off to the races. The lob pass by Dow. You'll see Whitty get his long pole, make the pickoff. Then they've got the numbers game. It's a 5-on-4. Whitty will carry, and listen, this ball hits the post. McCormick can't find it. You see him looking behind the net. It was at his feet, and Yavoli, he knew where it was.
So Yavoli gets the goal, but credit Trey Whitty with all the pressure. Making it 8-3. This half has been a 3-1 game so far, this half for Virginia. Dave Cottle talked about how important the early goal was. Ben Hunt tried to get it inside. The defense for Virginia sliding. Now they're out of position. Jamie Dow looking to get the right hand. Bryant could not get the shot off as Brian Hunt pushed into the middle, only to get hammered, Quinn, by the defense of Virginia. Maryland patient again with their offense. They're not going to play a different style. They'll do what they do best. Plenty of time left in this game. Jamie down, working the ball behind. Molly, the leader. Lacks up. Brett Hughes on him. Up top with a high shot over top of goal. Again, they can't get it on. We're at M&T Bank Stadium. Leif Ellsmo, Quinn Keswick, the finals for Division I lacrosse. Joe Beninati on the sideline. Coming up next, the Women's College World Series. It's a great one at 4 Eastern. UCLA faces off against Louisiana Lafayette. The winner moves on, the loser goes home. It's an elimination Saturday, the 2003 Women's College World Series, and it's coming up next. So it's already 4, and this will be the next programming.
Here we go. Here we go.
ESPN2.
These teams not exactly the best of friends. LaMonica, Mollet having problems with his footing, and Hughes just really hammering him. And then the Maryland teammate came through. I think this will be a Virginia ball. Physical flurry. Looking like playoff hockey.
Dom Starge on the sideline.
You make the call. Right there, he gets him the back of the head. Dow doesn't like it. He jacks Hughes up by the neck. And then the talk starts. LaMonica comes in late. But the chin strap.
No penalties on that one. And the ball goes to Brett Hughes and the Virginia Cavaliers as they get set to try to have a controlled clear. It's been trouble for them clearing easily against Maryland today. The drop-back ride causing them some problems.
I didn't like the way they cleared against Georgetown in the quarterfinals. I thought Georgetown manufactured 4 or 5 possessions over the course of the game by just hustling. And Virginia had some shaky clears.
A.J. Shannon makes quick work of this one, though. Gets into the box in plenty of time, and now they'll get a new midfield on. Kyle Dixon, Rotelli, Shannon. Cavaliers have scored on 3 of the last 6 shots. Pretty high percentage. It's exactly what Dave Cottle wanted on his side. That's about the only thing he's not getting is high percentage shooting.
And in 39 minutes, they've put up 8 goals, which is more than Maryland typically allows in a full game.
Shannon up top to Rotelli, down to the wing. Yavoli looks into Dixon. Dixon can't get clear, and Yavoli just rips it, and he finds rope behind McCormick.
Back-to-back goals by Yavoli. The left-hander operating on the far wing. It's really not his spot in the field. And if you freeze it right here, freeze it, look at this seam that is created. Look at all this space they're giving Joe Yavoli. And so obviously, let it roll. There's a communication issue there with Maryland. Anytime you let a player of Yavoli's caliber set his feet, take a look at the cage. And look, he's got all day here. He sets his feet. You see Parker and Pasavia a little confused as to who is supposed to step out. That is akin to giving a great three-point shooter in basketball a solid look at the rim. You can't do that.
He set his feet and just let it rip.
Right-handed by Yavoli, who's a natural lefty. Back-to-back goals by Yavoli. So Ward's got the hat trick. Yavoli has 2, so that's 5 goals from the attack.
Ward, Oskay, and 2 by Yavoli. That's how the third quarter went. And Mike Mullen, the only one to answer it. Take a look what's coming up next, folks. Great programming on ESPN2. It's Elimination Saturday of the 2003 Women's College World Series. It continues. It's up next. Again, UCLA facing off against Louisiana Lafayette. All great action up next on ESPN2. Right now, let's go down to the sidelines to Joe Beninati.
Ooh, intensity level is rising, Leif Ellsmo, especially inside that Maryland defensive huddle. The Terrapins aren't used to getting roughed up like this. Virginia is starting to show all cylinders on offense. In their huddle, all smiles, talking about communication again, but also trying to find the best matchup for them offensively. They want to keep finding that short stick defender and run right down his throat.
Thank you, Joe, and that's exactly right. Maryland is usually the team that pushes people all over the field, Quint, and they're getting their hands tied by that physical play of Virginia.
Only one team this year has gotten to double digits against this Terrapin defense, and that's North Carolina. Way back on March 22nd, the Tar Heels put up 10 when they beat Maryland 10-6. Virginia right now is headed well into double digits at this pace.
And that was just a moment you saw on the faceoff with Zach Hefner bringing the ball down, number 32, of relief for Rotelli and Gladding. Hefner has been a great story for Virginia because he's given Gladding and Rotelli minutes off on the wing of the faceoff. You saw how easily Hefner got that ground ball and brought it down, much like Maryland has done all day. Big shot by Matt Ward. He's going to be the MVP of this game. Ward is not getting enough attention, and he's making him pay.
Ward on a throwback from Foster Gilbert. Gilbert drives the right side. Gets the defense a little disjointed, and then through a mass of bodies, this ball just sneaks on the near post. McCormick thought he had it covered, and watch this ball just sneak by the left shin of Danny McCormick. Right there to the near post.
Joe, they're really getting it lit up on the offensive end.
You know they are, Lee, but Dom Starsia says to his Cavaliers, there are no promises. Know that you deserve to win. You've got to go out there and make a victory. Well, the Virginia Cavaliers right now are executing perfectly all facets of their offense and all the inspiration from Tillman Johnson in the first half. They look like very good front runners here in this second half.
Absolutely right. Tillman Johnson really kept them in the game. And look at Uvalde in an open net. McCormick was caught out. Uvalde had to hurry up. He saw McCormick dive back in, and he couldn't find the 6x6. Uvalde with a stick check there to bring the ball back. Virginia. Pasquet in that third midfield. And Pasquet's got some room. McCormick with a sensational in-the-face save. Pasquet already has a goal today, the good-looking freshman.
Another example of communication, much louder on the field right here. It looks like Maryland.
Wow, there it is, folks. Highlight reel himself. Tillman Johnson just pulling it out of the air.
How easy did Johnson make that save look? And that was a difficult one. He had to bring the stick all the way across his body.
Johnson saves him that time, so it goes back to the offensive set with Uvalde controlling. All the way over to Rotelli with a little bit of room. Rotelli could be getting a little anxious since he hasn't had much of an impact in the offense for Virginia. Now he's got Paul Gillette playing defense on him. Maybe it's time for Rotelli to challenge Gillette behind the goal.
Virginia's been a second-half team all season. People have criticized Virginia for not playing many players. They don't go very deep to the midfield. But the reality is that they don't tire in these games.
Uvalde looks up top, skips a man, Shannon, and he's got rope for number 11. Boy, you saw him extend the arms and you knew it was going to come at about 100 miles an hour.
7-1 run Virginia's on right now, 4 in a row. The lob pass to the weak side. Shannon with a blast. And then the signature celebration with the fist pump. Uvalde with the good look. Shannon with the finish.
Maryland trying to get some control on their face-offs. They've lost that handle. Brett Harper gets this one. And they try to control in the offensive end with Brendan Healy. Maryland trying to be patient, Quint, but that patience is going to have to change a little bit now when you get that 8-goal separation. You might want to crank it up just a tad, but is there enough time now to keep up with this signature style?
Goal a minute is the standard for comebacks. There's plenty of time.
Waters with that big left hand. The freshman from Rochester, and Johnson again makes it look easy. Picks it out of the air, 14th save of the day, and then just whips it down to the clearing middies, and they get a rest on the offensive end.
Any chance of a Maryland comeback starts with this defense. They got to change things up a bit. I think they got to stretch, start pressing some of these matchups. Virginia's passing and their spacing in the second half has been wonderful. It's been precision, much like our game earlier today, where Hopkins came out in the second half.
A.J. Shannon looking to go in, but backs off, takes some more time. He has Ryan Moran in the matchup, so now Shannon will walk him behind the goal. Ryan Moran, the short stick defender.
Maryland in an automatic double team here. They take the goalie out. It's an empty net.
They don't like that matchup either. They want him to get rid of the ball. He does. Virginia moves it quickly to Dixon. Joe Parker playing defense on him, but he'll go back to Christmas to initiate. Halley playing defense, and he has stuffed Christmas all day long. Halley has been sensational for Maryland.
And Pasavia trying to make some plays. He loses his footing, but he's hustling.
Numbers now for Rotelli. Rotelli will just take a rocket shot wide. Possession shot as Matt Wart was back there. Stay with us on ESPN2 after our semifinal, because coming up next is the Women's College World Series, UCLA against Louisiana Lafayette. UCLA is 4-1 lifetime against ULL. UCLA has 8 NCAA softball championships. It's all coming at you next on ESPN2, the College World Series for women.
Lee Zink doing some dirty work on that ground ball. You could hear him throwing checks. Just taking arms.
Virginia sensing that they have this game under control. An 8-goal lead, playing very physical, Quinn, as you're talking about. They can bring it to you. They can play tough defense. Again, the numbers discussion not proven by the amount of goals they've scored late in games. Under 2 minutes in this third quarter. The winner of this game will play Hopkins on Monday at 11 a.m. Here's the big guy. Sean Leary had the second goal for Maryland. That was way back about 10 minutes into the second quarter. Billy Gladdy's matched up on him. That's quite a matchup when you got a 6'4", 250 guy trying to stop.
Virginia's defense has only given up double digits 3 times this season.
David Berman checked the ball out of bounds. The long stick defender. There he is. Tremendous year for Berman. Senior, started every game. Good size for him, 6'4", also out of the Landon School. This quarter, shots, Quint, 15-5 in favor of UVA. Quite different than that first half.
No question. When this one's over, Maryland will look to that first quarter, capitalizing on your opportunities.
Larry goes right by Gladding, and then he gets in close with a shot, and Tillman Johnson this time stops that one, and then Brian Hunt puts a follow-up on him, a little postscript, and he's willing to answer. Q, you get in the zone that almost any shot, no shot scares you. He is unbelievable.
Well, the first shot's easy because it basically just hits you. You just hope it hits you. You don't even have to move. The second one's a reaction save, though, off of the Hunt redirect.
Mollett behind the goal, and Hughes. Hughes has been in his face all day, and that pass goes well over the offense. Big shot from outside, and Maryland will continue. Tillman Johnson calling the plays. Not much time for Maryland to get their offense set up. Plenty of time for a good shot, though, as LaMonica brings the ball in. Johnson barking at the defensive positions. Nobody's sliding early. Gladding in the middle of the field. LaMonica looks to shoot. The ball goes down. Clock winds to 0. And that'll be it. So we'll go into the fourth quarter with Virginia leading 11-3 from Baltimore. We've got a fourth quarter coming up right now, Dave, and we'll look forward to getting to that Women's World Series after this game. We've got 1 quarter left to go. 7 goals scored in that 6 actually scored in that third quarter. Matt Ward has been the story, Quint, and really a sensational third quarter when you think about what they did in the first half.
Hard to predict his success, but Givoli and Christmas drawing such a crowd. What Ward has shown me is more versatility.
Great shot in close by Gillette. Walters found Gillette on the crease, and that has been really what's hurt them as much as anything. They've had sensational saves by Johnson, or they've missed the goal.
Well, this is basically a save, a missed shot that is because Johnson's playing out of his skull right now.
Inside, another shot by Merrill, who is putting increasing pressure. That one by LaMonica.
You start shooting the corners. You start shooting to the finest corner, and Gillette just missed the layup. I mean, he was intimidated by Tillman Johnson, who's clearly just in the heads of this Maryland offense.
Fourth quarter action here, 11-3 the score, but up next, the Women's College World Series, UCLA versus Louisiana Lafayette. You'll join that after our game. ULL is making their fourth WCWS appearance in the Women's College World Series. Tremendous action coming up next after this game right here on ESPN2. Virginia with a comfortable lead. The halftime score is 5-2, even though Maryland probably outplayed in that first half. They did everything but get the ball in the net.
Virginia's defense underrated.
Crowd blowing the call. It gives it back to Maryland, who's had the ball every second of this fourth quarter. Now they change the call. Dom Starja likes it. Kyle doesn't like it. But they talked about it, the referees, and made the change. They'll give the ball to Virginia. Rotelli comes back for the clearing attempt. It hasn't been easy for Virginia to clear today. Maryland with a great scheme in their ride package.
I think one of the powerful things about this Virginia performance is Rotelli and Christmas have not scored a goal yet. And yet, when we showed you that opening graphic before the game about how they're getting some diversified scoring, this is a prime example of that.
They've got two freshmen, Matt Ward and Koske, throwing in 6 goals.
Gladding's got 1. Yavoli's got his deuce.
Woody start things off with his transition. Johnny Christmas occupying the best defenseman, which is not anything to be not considered. He takes the best stick out of the game because he is drawing their best defenseman. But I think all the coaches would say, Quinn, that's the problem when you play against Virginia. They have so many weapons, it's hard to just shut off a couple and not be vulnerable to them scoring.
And the matchups, Christmas, because of his speed, he's got to use such a great speedy player. And Yavoli's so smart.
Matt Ward skips a man, goes up to Rotelli. Shannon, the first midfield in there, looking for some long possession here as the clock is obviously on their side. Yavoli tries a shot that was right in the stick of McCormick. Easy save for him, and now they outlet the ball, but picked off by Matt Ward, who goes to the open net and knocked down by McCormick, who was about 20 yards outside the cage.
Ward scored an open net goal from about 30 yards against Georgetown. See, he obviously has a knack for that riding skill.
Maryland tries to come back on that shot, but tremendous defense applied by Ned Bowen. He almost sensed the turn back and was there waiting for him.
Well, he knew Hunt is a natural right-hander, and he was pressing left. He knew Hunt would turn for his strength. He kind of trailed him and played that.
Brian Hunt kept quiet today. You look at the scoring from Maryland. Mollett, Leary. Wouldn't expect Leary and Parker to be on the board, and nobody else but 1 goal from Mollett. After what they did last week to UMass, I think Virginia was a little concerned about their offense getting very comfortable here at Maryland. We knew they could play defense. They knew they could stop a lot of teams, but the scoring was dramatic in the quarterfinal game. Mollett playing defense. Ward to Rotelli. Rotelli tries to drop inside, but he uses the clock. It's down to about 11.
Smart play by Rotelli. He's going to let that fly from about 13 yards on the wing, but Halley came out under control, didn't overextend himself, and Rotelli just says, hey, time's on our side. Virginia will be warned for stalling here any second because they're clearly not going to the cage.
Gladding back against Burke. And they push the ball over to A.J. Shannon, who had it squirt through his legs. The field not much of a factor in the second half. It's actually gotten better. We've talked about that as this day has gone on. Not as much slipping and sliding.
Took a beating.
Yavoli just breaks through the left side. And that taunt may cost him. He gets a flag thrown after he scored. Got in the face of Pasavia, and that'll cost him.
The goal counts for Uvoli. That's a hat trick for Joe Uvoli, the sophomore. He just presses from behind. It's a speed dodge. Pasavia goes for the over-the-head check, the home run check to try to get the takeaway. Zink comes in late and high, and that's what fired Uvoli up. Virginia can beat you in so many ways, and that's a taunting violation. Joe Uvoli, the referee's right there. The goal does count, but Uvoli, dead ball foul, no face-off. Maryland extra man. There's been a real emphasis in the last 2 years about those taunting fouls.
Well, Uvoli playing very tough, coming as a freshman and doing a sensational job last year with Johnny Christmas when they had Connor Gill, the senior, and this year a little bit different role for them. Now they're the upperclassmen as sophomores with a freshman, Matt Ward, joining their team. Dom Starship just getting his defense collected.
Virginia's team last year, kind of led by two seniors, Moeller and Russo at the short stick defensive position, along with Connor Gill. But I've got to give Coach Starzyk credit. This team really hasn't missed a beat this year. 4 or 5 key parts taken off your team.
No goals in the last 16 minutes, 18 seconds. Obviously, that's been the only problem with Maryland today. They've had great success in many areas of the field. They just can't get past Tillman Johnson. Big Sean Leary was one of their goals scored. Joe Beninati, what's the sideline feeling like?
Well, Leaf, right now, the Virginia Cavaliers don't want to retaliate. If they think that Lee Zink or Chris Pasavia are going to take some liberties defensively, they don't want to lose their cool. They don't want to blow any of this big lead that they enjoy right now by 12-3. It's all a matter of keeping focus on that Virginia side. It started, the second half did, with an impassioned plea from Dom Starja. Great fire and brimstone chatter about, you have more to give us, you have more to show us. Boy, have they demonstrated it in the second half.
They really have played with guts and heart. 12-3 the score, lead by 9. In close to LaMonica, and that would be a goal on anybody except for Tillman Johnson today. He has been unbelievable in the goal. 16 saves.
16, only 3 goals against. From a percentage standpoint, one of the highest percentages you'll see.
And the ball loose now comes to Rottelli. Rottelli will take a shot. Whistle dead
Behind the play.
Loose ball hold against Johnny Christmas. And the ball will go to Maryland. Christmas has a few comments. Asking for an explanation, possibly. Well, that was a breakaway by Rottelli, and his few shots as he's had today, but you can see him salivate when he gets a chance to take one. Rottelli taking a breather. Again, the fear for Petramala and Hopkins, who awaits the winner of this game, are the multiple threats of Virginia. They've got so many guys, it's just hard to know how to package your defense to shut off. Who do you shut off? Behind, we've proven today that really won't do it. You go in front to Rottelli, well, they've been quiet.
Here's the one-on-one save. Watch the location, location, location. Right in the stick, truthfully. Not a very well-placed shot by Dan LaMonica.
You talk about changing the plane of the goal when you're in close. You're high, you know your goalie's stick is high.
Tillman Johnson, though, this is the best goaltending performance.
Kyle Dixon comes off the pick inside, and the freshman gets his first goal in semifinal play.
Virginia with a 10-goal lead. Multiple scorers now. Dixon from Archbishop Spaulding, which is just down the highway towards Annapolis. Just a redirect in front, but the off-ball movement so important. He asks his defender to cover him off the ball, and you see the trailing defender there just can't make the play. Getting back to Tillman Johnson, Maryland takes a timeout.
We'll tell that story in a moment. Right now, we'll take a break from M&T Bank Stadium. Virginia in command in the second semifinal.
Presentation of the NCAA Men's Division I Lacrosse Championships, brought to you by Coca-Cola. Let's make it real. And Pontiac, official performance machines of the NCAA.
History being made right here at M&T Bank Stadium. A record crowd. Tom Ryan right there, a star in the lacrosse world, and the fans all love being here. It's a great festival in the game of lacrosse. 37,000 plus as Hopkins players look on to see who will be playing them on Monday. And we expect it'll be Virginia, which would be the 1 and 2 seed, Quint, and really the game everybody wants to see this year.
That man right there, that's Rob Scher, Hopkins goalie.
Back to the face-off X. 10 goals separate these two teams. Maryland really basically outplaying Virginia early on, but just not being able to beat Tillman Johnson in the first half.
Got to go back to 2000. Kind of a foul against Maryland right there. 2000, Duke 13, Hobart 1 in NCAA playoff action. Duke's goalie, Matt Breslin, 22 saves and only 1 goal against for Hobart. And that's the highest percentage ever in an NCAA playoff game. But Tillman Johnson today, I don't know what his exact numbers are, 16 or so saves, 3 goals against. Do the math.
Sometimes the math doesn't tell you the whole story, but I think you would agree today he has been sensational.
Oh, incredible. As good as it gets.
On the other side, McCormick. Tremendous year for McCormick. But today, the story has been Tillman Johnson. We've got an extra man right now. We'll talk about Tillman as we get towards the end of this game, because he has really been the guy who has won it for them in that first half action. Has been sensational the whole game, as a matter of fact. It's now Virginia with an extra man play. 16 saves on the day for Johnson, but he won't be tested here. It'll be McCormick strapping on his helmet a little tighter. Rotelli. Shannon on the far side. This is Matt Ward down to Dixon. Kyle Dixon gets down to Christmas, who looks to the crease. And they were very patient with that, knowing the clock is really their best friend as they don't need any more goals. Even strength now. Virginia now 0 for 2 on extra men situation.
I don't think their intent there was to even take a shot leap. I think they were just working it around. That foul basically gives you a free half a minute or a minute.
Rotelli getting hammered by the potential takeaway checks of Lee Zink. There, the ball taken right out of his stick.
Rotelli loses a glove, continues to play without it. So to be Maryland ball. Tough day for the Zink twins, Lee and Alex. Alex, the attackman for Syracuse, and Lee, the defender for Maryland.
Joe Parker, 32, had that early goal, first goal of the game for Maryland. This time his unit's in. The ball walks around to the backside and out of bounds. Tillman Johnson in the nets. He'll start the clearing package. Kyle Dixon in the middle, 6'4" frame, tremendous athlete who has won 3 B championships for Spalding, and now has the potential of winning 1 in the NCAA Division I in his first year. He doesn't know anything else, like you did in '87 when you were a freshman, than winning a championship.
And Matt Ward, 14. Landon, 3 straight DC area championships, a mythical national title when he was a senior at Landon. This is a guy who's lost less than 5 lacrosse games in the last 6 years. And there's Matt Ward.
Matt Ward drew the penalty that time on the big checks.
McCormick.
Luciano.
McCormick also from Landon, Maryland's goaltender.
Quint, not only the quantity of goals that Matt Ward had today that was really impressive, but the timing of his goals, I think, was as good as it gets. He starts the first game of the goal of the game with 1, and then when the game was on the line, Dave Cuttle talked about it. Who scored the first goal of the second half but Matt Ward? It'll be another extra man for Virginia, and again, as we talked about earlier, Quint, you probably won't see a shot here, will you?
If I was Virginia, I'd throw the ball around the outside for a minute here.
It's the #1 extra man unit. Christmas inside. He tried to redirect that feed from Yavoli, as Maryland has to extend the defense to have any kind of mathematical chance to win the game.
Yavoli and Christmas behind now. Ward inside. Got shooters on the perimeter. Shannon the lefty, Rotelli the righty, and Dixon up top.
They skip a man, but picked off in midair. A pass that really wasn't necessary, but it was picked off quickly by Lee Zink. Now Maryland gets set with Mike Mauer bringing the ball in.
Talking to Coach Stargey yesterday about John Christmas. He's best in space. In a lot of those 6-on-6 situations, he's he's not as effective because of his speed. And if you give him a 50-yard window to operate, or a 20 to 25-yard, he's awful dangerous. In those tight scenarios, though, that's where his speed is not as effective.
Kyle Dixon playing defense on Maryland as they push the ball in for a chance to score. Sean Larry, that's a better matchup for Virginia. You got Dixon at 6'4" against the big guy, 6'5", 240. Dixon back out to Larry, see if he can handle him. Couldn't get the ball cleanly, and Dixon out of position, gets back inside of Leary. He's a handful for anybody. As Leary looks to get position, moves the ball around. 5.5 left. Mathematically, it's